to tell you about the time I went to the water park.
You're going to have to pause right there. You're going to have to start over. Why do you have it in your shirt?
Ooh. You want to start it over?
You're going to start it over.
Okay, you have to do anything up there?
Nope.
Okay, so we missed our regular recording day. We try to put out one quite often this week. So I wanted to tell you about the time when I had a water park, a little incident at the water park. Now, this one particularly is for Galen. So Galen, if you're watching, this one's for you, buddy. So my kids went to this water park. It's a real famous Texas water park. And they're like, hey, we want you to go on one of the rides, Dad. And I said, man, you know, I'm kind of a heftier guy. Like, it's probably not a good idea to go on a water slide is what I'm thinking. And they're like, Dad, just try the one. It's not that bad. It'll be fine. I said, yeah, I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Right? What's the worst that can happen? Right. So my first indication that this was probably going to be a poor idea was I had to walk up about 900 stairs to get to the top of this thing. Now, the air was real thin when I finally got up there. So I was huffing and I was puffing. And there's a scale at the top of this rascal. And above the scale is written weight limit 300 pounds. Now, luckily, I had just had my shirt ripped off in the wave pool as I was assaulted. And I'm going to go over that eventually in a video because that was fantastic. So I'm missing my shirt and I got this big, like half my hair's gone on this side. And I got a big red, looked like I got whipped. And
so that took a few pounds off.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to get to, because when I got on the scale and it's 300 pounds, buddy, it was close. I mean, it was teetering. And the guy's kind of looking at me like this, and I'm kind of like, and he's kind of looking at me like, I mean, he's waiting for it to kind of push over. You can see him kind of going, but it wouldn't go. So, I mean, I barely made it under 300 pounds. So he's like, all right, get you down in the tube. And I get in the tube and I'm holding on. It's got them little rubber handles. And I'm holding on to the side of that sucker. And he goes, are you ready? And I said, yeah, I guess. I mean, it can't be that bad.
Nope.
And I'm kind of cocked back a little bit, you know, kind of, I'm a big guy. You could barely see the tube under me. And it was just kind of looked like I was sitting on a Cheerio. So anyway, off I go. And this thing starts to pick up speed. And I'm thinking, oh man, you know, and I'm coming, I'm thinking there's got to be like a turn or a slow down point or something. Now I'm going about 900 miles an hour by the time I get to the bottom of this thing. And to be fair, I did have a manly moment where I'm like, ah, kind of like that. And you can hear me screaming as I come out the tube. Now at the bottom of every tube, there's this slow down. You know, it's like a slow down where you're meant to slow down. That is not what happened. So I hit this tube, okay, going to begin about 900 miles an hour. And all I could hear in the background was that song, I Believe I Can Fly. Well, I hit it and I go airborne, boom. And this is the first kind of takeoff. And I'm thinking, I believe. Now, as I'm looking down, there's a lifeguard at the end and she's standing in the water and she couldn't have been 90 pounds soaking wet.
Lord bless her.
And she's standing there and you see her start to panic like this. And she's starting to shake. This is as I'm now airborne coming out the tube. Okay. So this, I believe I can fly. The lifeguard is just kind of sitting there kind of looking at me. Now this is impact number 1. Now as I come down and I hit the water, I hit the force about what you kind of imagine like a hurricane. And all you hear from across the pool is, now this is when my man boob hit me square in the face. So kapow.
Only once.
Yeah. Only once. Kapow. And I'm telling you, it rocked me. I've been hit. This was terrible. So I've been hit and it kind of throws me back and my legs kind of come up. And then obviously now I'm wearing a bikini because I hit the water so hard. It goes, whoop. I look like, think about it like this. I look like a woolly mammoth in a rubber band is kind of, I want you to think in your head, sitting on top of a Cheerio.
But you were missing half your hair.
Yeah, I was missing. And I had a big old red star across my back. So I hit the ground and I'm in and out of consciousness. I mean, I hit it. When they say when you hit something with a force like this, it's like hitting concrete. I was going so fast on this too. And then it skipped. Now, at this point, the little girl at the end, you could hear her start to have the lifeguard. You could hear her start to have a low grade scream. She's like, oh. Now, as the hit happened, the pow, everyone starts to turn and look. So now I got an audience. Now, this is fantastic. I'm going in and out of consciousness. And I'm coming up, and this one wasn't as high as the first skip. And I had to part my man boobs to kind of see down through it, and I'm like this. as I'm coming towards towards this girl, and I got the woolly mammoth, and it was absolutely terrible. Impact number 2. This time I hit the water and I ripped the right handle off the tube. So now I start to spin. So I no longer have the ability. So I hit, bam, kabam, and it's spinning like this. And the girl now is at a full-blown, complete scream because there's this gigantic, chubby guy coming at her at about 900 miles an hour, and the tube's spinning. Now
And she's still just standing there.
I mean, what can you do? It's panic. She is caught in absolute panic.
Well, there's fight or flight. She wasn't going to do either.
Then there's more like wounded turkey. Because what we saw, like the wounded turkey situation at the end. Now this brings me to the final impact number 3. And this happens probably a foot from in front of her. Now, if you've ever thrown a large rock off of a bridge in a canyon, is what it sounded like when I hit that water. So it's like a kaboom, and water starts flying up. The tube hits the ground. I'm rocketing forward. I don't know how I missed this girl, but I'm rocketing forward, and the tube impacts into the bottom of the pool. At this point, I am ejected from the vehicle. Like it was. I had no control over this. I still have the handle in my right hand, and I'm still
souvenir,
and I'm still screaming underwater. Now I go end over end, and I'm just hitting, and I'm trying to hold on to something. The tube kind of shoots up, bam, and the tube comes out. Now this girl, I come up and she's just shaking, and she's soaked, and her hair's pinned back, kind of like when Wile E. Coyote looks into the back of a rocket. Boom! So this is the scene, and everybody's staring. So at this point, whatever pride I had, because there was a wave pool incident earlier that I'll tell you about another time, my pride is now completely gone. So as I'm hit, I stand up in the water, and between the jittery, now I have a black eye and I'm bleeding because I got hit so hard from the man boob in the face.
You were holding them out of the way.
And I'm holding on to the handle, and she's looking at me like, she didn't even know what to say. And I didn't know what to say. And everyone's looking at me. You want to talk about pride gone. Okay, so this is why I do no longer ride water slides. That's what happened. Now, here's the aftermath of that. So I had this experience. It's like an out-of-body experience. I almost died. Totally humiliating. And I'm walking out, pulling my swimsuit down, and I'm in all my glory. Guts hanging out. Half my hair is ripped off. I got a big gash in my back. And it ain't looking...
The black eye.
I'm bleeding a little bit, crying.
Right.
I was crying a little bit.
So was she.
Yeah, well, I walk up and I finally found my tube. Now, you know how tube's circular? This had now turned into a triangle, and you can see, like, you know how when the air comes out of a tire where it ain't supposed to come out? That's what it looked like when I impacted the ground. So you have this bubble where the air come out. And
how was it still holding air? If you had the handle.
I have no idea because I ripped it off. It didn't pop the tube. It'd have killed me if I would have because I was spinning. You got to remember when I hit, I was spinning.
Velocity.
So yeah, I walked over and I kind of put the handle down, and I was just in shock. I mean, me and that tube had been through it. Like if I could have took it home as a minute, because that tube was wrecked.
Did you ask?
It was ruined. No, I was embarrassed. I couldn't even talk to nobody. Now the aftermath of this, I'm sitting over there by the wave pool crying. And my kids come down to me and they're like, Dad, you know how they had that weight sign up there at 300 pounds? I said, yeah. They said, well, somebody got up there with a Sharpie and crossed it out. And now it says 250, not 300. And I'm thinking, dang, man. Huh. Yeah, right?
Wonder how that happens.
I have no idea. And I get it. I mean, somebody should have safety tested that with a larger rascal. That's what I'm saying. I don't know where they come up with that number. But when you come out of that tube going about 950 miles an hour, there is no... It was the quick, the fast, and the dead. Everything I had ever done flashed before my eyes, and it wasn't good up to this point. Now, the other thing that was kind of embarrassing is I get back to the hotel room, right? And I'm back to the hotel room, and there's a stack of vouchers to the salad bar.
We're way past that point. Salad bar's not going to help.
And I'm like, I understand the merit. And I'm sure that little girl's going to have to go through some counseling over what had happened. But this... Oh,
I heard she resigned.
I'd have sued because
she left.
That was a near-death experience. But I mean, when you're talking about just the impact and the shame that I felt going forward. Now I had another 2 days there. So I had to walk around, and then people that seen this happen would kind of be like, shh. And I had, big old black eye. It's all red.
I was most impressed by the sound of the inner tube as it flew. It was like a noise you've never heard before.
Kind of like a boomerang is what I would kind of imagine it to be.
Yeah. You could hear it through the whole water park.
Yeah, everyone kind of turned and looked. And then when people are snickering at you and they're laughing at you, not a good situation. However, that is kind of my Texas water park experience, and not to just bore you with the details. But
one slide.
I only went down one because I almost died. And that's why you got to be careful what you go down and what you do. So I just thought I'd share that with everybody to kind of see what y'all think. Yeah, that's what I got.
New family rule: don't take Dad down the slide.
So yeah, it was an out of body experience. I'll tell you. I mean, when you're in and out of consciousness because you smacked yourself so hard. I mean, it was trying to explain who had won the fight to my kids was pretty embarrassing.
Well, I really appreciate you sharing that story with us.
Yeah,
just really putting your heart out there like that.
Just laying it out. I mean, this is as real as it gets. This is real life stuff right here on this channel. About what happens to me and kind of what I go through. Being chubby is hard. It's hard on a daily basis. So,
did you try out the salad bar?
Yeah, I did actually. And luckily they had some meat on there, so I got some ham and pork, and it turned out really well. Gained some weight, but hey, here's for trying, right?
It was the extra dressing.
It must have been. Been. So that's what happened.
Goodness.